What if the thing making you sick is actually your home environment? The walls, the plastic paint, the insulation, the air circulating through your vents while you sleep? Today, I got to sit down with Jack and Aislinn from Kingdom Builders, a husband and wife team on a mission to change the way homes are built from the ground up. No mold, no toxin, no compromises. And we got into some tips on how we can optimize the homes we currently live in. We get into why mold has quietly become a modern epidemic, how microplastics are invading your indoor air, and why the home that's supposed to protect you might actually be working against you. Hey, if you've been doing everything right and still don't feel well, your environment might be the answer you've been looking for. All right, today I'm with Evelyn and Jack from Kingdom Home Builders. I'm super excited to talk to them today because mold is a hot topic right now. So many people are connecting their health-related symptoms to possible mold exposure in their homes. And I wanted to sit down with Jack and Aislinn, who specialize in building healthy homes, and help us understand what can we do to help make our homes healthier. If our homes do have mold, how can we remediate? How can we detect it? And if you are building a home, how can you build it better? So, Aislinn and Jack, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you,
We
Tracy.
did it virtually because you guys are all the way in the Carolinas?
Yes.
South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
In South Carolina. All right. Well, welcome to San Diego.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have this conversation today. We talked a little bit before starting the recording, and it was just really refreshing to just hear your guys' heart for why you started your company and how you both work together as a husband and wife team, with Aislinn being such a big part of the push for the health initiative, and Jack, you being a builder, and you guys coming together and really making that some magical alchemy. So let's get started and talk a little bit about what I first noticed about you guys. I was watching Instagram. I'm scrolling on Instagram. Yes, very bad at nighttime. And I see, Jack, you're doing some sort of insulation, and you were talking about how you were using lamb's wool. And I thought, wow, that's completely different than the way we do that here in California, and the way I know most home builders build their homes and use insulation. Can you tell us just a little bit about your guys' approach and how it's different than the standard home builders?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the first standout is you could call it the cornerstone of our whole kind of building science method, is the wall assembly. I mean, that wall that's creating that shell from the elements and your conditioned space. The big thing we do different is we do utilize sheep's wool insulation, but why talking about, tying it to the mold, talking about why mold, I believe, is a newer pandemic. We were talking a little bit about this before, is that the old houses, and we live in an old 70s ranch home, the way that we used to build was like board on board sheeting. So had lots of gaps, not focusing on air tightness at all. And then you put tar paper in either your siding or your brick on the house. So that wall assembly was very leaky, and that's not a good thing, but it did keep mold under control because it could dry back out. That moisture had a path to dry back out to the outside. And as a country and as a whole, we've gotten a lot more focused on building science and building homes that are tighter and more airtight. And that is a good thing overall, except that as we throw these houses up, we're building them faster than than the studs can even dry out. So we're sealing them up really, really tight on the outside with either a zip system or Tyvek or whatever your other weather resistant barrier is. And you've got your studs in the middle, and then you've got your sheetrock on the inside that we're painting with an acrylic latex paint. We've all seen that paint dry, and it's plastic. We're putting plastic on the inside of our walls, and we're spending a lot more time and energy air sealing on the outside. So now we've got a wall cavity with whatever insulation, fiberglass, cellulose, whatever we're putting inside that wall, and it can't dry out. There's nowhere for that moisture to go. That we just threw this house up. It got rained on. Nobody checked the moisture content of the studs, if they were below 12%, if they were dried out properly. So we've now built this wall assembly that has no path of escape. And that is why I believe that mold is a serious pandemic as a core. I mean, there's a lot of other checks and balances that we need to put into place, from waterproofing details and flashing details and things, just to keep bulk water out. But just as a building science, from a building science lens, that's a big issue, I think, in the new modern day approach to construction. So that's where we do something different, is that we do spend a lot of time, energy, and money, and even beyond what the typical practice. I mean, we're taking our air barrier up the wall, across the soffit, and having continuity to the roof. So we're sealed very tightly. Normally, that's one of the leakiest parts, is up there at the soffit, and you're letting hot, humid air is leaking into your home there and creating issues. So we spend a lot of time, energy, and money air sealing the entire envelope of the home. So now we've got that controlled on the outside. And the wall cavity, what we're filling, that insulation by volume, is the biggest building material in your home. If we took all the insulation out of your house and put it in a pile, it would be by volume the biggest material. But what's ironic is that it's often the most harmful. It's either fiberglass, which you have to wear gloves and a respirator and all these things so you don't breathe in that fiberglass formaldehyde ridden insulation, or we're bringing a team in that has to spray foam is putting spray foam in that. We've all seen the things coming out in Europe that a lot of insurance companies are dropping people if they spray foam their house. They won't even insure their house if you put spray foam in.
And the workers are wearing like hazmat suits to put it in your house.
They have to have a dedicated air supply. They're putting a bag over their head.
Wow.
It's comical to watch. I mean, and this is one thing. I mean,
and you're living in it though.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
I'm sure it cures, and then it's not the same. But
on paper it does.
It does. Yeah.
But the problem is we're trying to do chemistry on the job site.
Yeah.
And you read the technical data sheets of all the different spray foams. Every 10 to 12 degrees, you have to change your formula. And we're going to swing, and it's an exothermic reaction. So it's producing heat. So by the end of the day, it's 110, 120 degrees in this house that they just spray foamed, and it started at 60 in that morning. So we've gone 60 degrees different, and nobody changed the formula. So of course it's having issues and off-gassing, and it's not curing out like on paper it says it does.
Yeah.
So
wow, that's a very interesting point that I've never thought of. So you're telling me that we've got a lot of toxins in our home, and I think about, like, what is it? This MDF, like this wood that's mixed with other things, and that has formaldehyde in it, doesn't it, as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
And over time, that's off-gassing. You're in your home, you're breathing in this formaldehyde. What else? The paint. What is? I know now we have more low-VOC paint, but what does that mean?
That means it's low-VOC. I think it's a sales gimmick. Honestly.
Just, being blunt.
Because VOC is like a lot of people are finding out organic is like. It's basically that low VOC is that it's low on the chart of the band recognized VOCs, and the paint companies, instead of these, they're using those.
It's safer chemicals, basically. Like, and it again depends on a lot of like temperature and things like that. Like it's kind of hard to control through application.
Yeah.
So we specialize. We only use no VOCs in ours. Like when we have a paint or a finish or lacquer, anything we use is no VOC.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to learn more about what this no-VOC paint is. I know we talked about it, and I want to go back to that.
But going back to the wall assembly, to finish.
Oh, yeah, let's finish.
Yeah.
Lots of cool information here. Yeah.
We got excited.
We do.
So we're filling our walls not with spray foam, fiberglass. The cheapest, most harmful building material, the biggest by volume, biggest building material that you're going to so we're putting a material that actually has a positive effect on your
health. Is healing for the occupant.
From the frequency, we all know that, I mean, why we wear wool, it's a healing frequency. I mean, from the frequency of wool to the keratin component in the wool, because it came off a living, breathing sheet, and it's got that keratin structure in it, which irreversibly bonds to formaldehyde, VOCs, carcinogens, and it's actively, I mean, that biggest building material by volume, that mass of wool is now working for you, passively filtering your air. It naturally, the same reason why we wear wool socks or wool cap when hiking, it naturally tries to accept and reject humidity. I've got data where on a really, we installed the wool insulation on last summer, and I took some data on it, and I put a sensor outside that tracked the temperature and humidity, and then I put 2 inside the house. And you could see as it got more humid outside throughout the day, the humidity inside, as we're installing this all this wool, 7,000 pounds of wool in this house, the humidity went down.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
It is amazing. So, and what all of that would be null and void if we just painted our walls like everyone else did.
Yeah.
So what we use is it's called KEIM, KEIM, KEIM mineral silicate paint, and it's extremely vapor permeable. So that is the kind of the crux of the whole assembly, is that now our walls we talked about how the old walls could diffuse and dry to the outside. Our walls can dry to the healthy side, to the inside.
Okay.
So now we're sealed on the outside, we're vapor open on the inside. In our wall cavities that we are testing, we are going the extra mile in testing. Before I hang sheetrock, one of our standards, I won't hang sheetrock if those studs aren't dried out properly, aren't below 12% moisture content. So, and even if you get residual humidity or it's a really hot day or anything like that, now the wall can breathe. And you can have a vapor exchange between the inside of the conditioned envelope that we're controlling through our HVAC design. You can now have an exchange through the wall cavity, and it leads to a wall assembly that's extremely mold resistant.
Tell us a little bit more about this KEIM mineral silicate paint.
Yeah, so KEIM is it's a mineral silicate paint. So it's really cool. If you take it, it's a normal paint, when it dries, you peel it off the can, and it's plastic. So we're literally painting our walls these days in plastic.
Everything's plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even our paint, our walls are encased in plastic.
Wow. So as entropy takes place, plastic is off-gassing into our environment, and we're breathing in more microplastics from our paint.
More estrogen, but it's lower VOC.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So this paint is not plastic.
No,
it's
it's you think of it from it's a mineral silicate paint, so it's made with God-made natural minerals, and you grind it up, and it's actually like concrete. It's a powder.
Okay.
So just from a chemistry and a durability standpoint, it's incredibly durable. It's actually bonding into the substrate rather than relying on formaldehyde-ridden binders like of regular paint to glue it to the surface. This paint is penetrating into the sheetrock, into the substrate, and creating a bond that won't. I mean, we put on you put a sticker on your wall and leave it too long, it'll pull the paint right off. This paint is bonding into the substrate, and that it doesn't have that surface bond. So just from a bond standpoint, it's incredibly durable. It's tinted with minerals, so God-made minerals. It's tinted with titanium dioxide, yellow, cobalt, blue, and iron, the same stuff in the Carolinas, that red clay that makes that red clay never come out of whatever it touches. It's tinted with iron. So there's your three primary colors.
A lot of people that do ceramics make their own glazes from those minerals. So if you can kind of think in that like realm of thinking, it's the same application to this paint. So you're making these like very sturdy, structurally like
don't fade.
They don't fade. And it's like you can take like a ceramic or a piece that someone made and put it through your dishwasher with their glaze that they used all the minerals on. It's that same kind of like durability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mentioned, I think to you before, that KEIM has been around since the 1800s. There's not on a large scale, but the core paint formulas and things like that.
It's a German company that immigrated over here.
It did, yeah. There's paintings in Europe from the 1800s, and you can see that the colors have not faded.
The the word just left me, the castle.
The
Notre Dame. Yeah, I don't know why. Sorry. But that's painted with KEIM mineral paint.
The White House.
Oh, wow.
The White House,
the White House is finished with KEIM mineral silicate paint. So from a color depth standpoint too, it's amazing. You walk into, after we spray, my painters love it.
Yeah.
After you apply the paint, you walk in and it's you have to feel it.
It's a definite difference. Like we talk about frequency and color depth, and then just like the way it refracts light. I always mess up that word, but it is something different. It is something special.
One of my favorite things to do when I prep for the gym is to get my blood moving. And the way that I do that is by reducing inflammation and adding some nitric oxide to my blood. I love HydroShot. Not only does it taste delicious, but it has hydrogen gas infused into the can, as well as natural occurring nitric oxide from watermelon rind with green tea, and it's 0 calories. We all know that an essential piece of staying hydrated is electrolytes. Electrolytes, what are those? Those are basically minerals in a liquid solution. And not all electrolytes are made the same. We want one that has all the building blocks for life so that we can build healthy new cells. And the way we do that is having all of our minerals and trace elements balanced and complete. And that's why I love KEIM minerals. Not only do you get all 78 trace elements that your body needs, but KEIM is cold processed and harvested during the plankton bloom on the ocean's floor, where there's so much bioenergetic information that pertains to life. And they capture that information in this double tip ampule. So all you do is open the ampule, put it in your favorite drink, in your water, or you can even put it under your tongue.
Yeah, I definitely want to see this because I can see how it would refract light differently. And
because it's like a prism. So rather than a linear like paint, it's refracting. So it's hitting that paint and diffusing in many different directions. So you can see we've done videos, kind of side by side videos of standard latex acrylic paint and KEIM mineral silicate paint, and there's a noticeable difference. I can tell it's pretty special because we can tell clients is like your colors will be brighter, your colors will be deeper, your house will feel better because of that. It's tinted with those God-made minerals, and this is some of where the one of the many ways that the name where Kingdom Builders comes from is that kind of a core belief that we do believe is like you start studying this stuff, and it's like our creator, he knew what he was doing. He put everything that he wanted to build with here on this earth.
Yeah. Amen.
I mean, you look at sheep's wool. God made sheep. He look at all the benefits of sheep's wool for the health of the occupant.
Even diving a little bit deeper too on like the color of paint or the KEIM paint that we use, like reflecting the light. It's you use, I know like in one of your podcasts you called cheap LEDs like junk food lighting. So we don't use that in any of our houses. So if you combine that paint, that color, the light that it takes and pushes back at you, it just makes you feel good because you have that healthy lighting, you have those beautiful, vibrant, rich colors, and then it's pushing it back at you. And you talk about frequencies, you talk about like a healing space. It's really beautiful when you put all of those things together. It just meshes so well.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great point, Aislinn, because it's not just that you're not adding more toxins into your home, but you're actually adding an environment that's conducive for light frequencies that can help to nourish your cells.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you have red light therapy, you have the different light things. So it's like, why not have that every day in any room of your house?
And
Wow.
the lighting that we use is, have you heard of the Sunlighten 2? It's a great brand, LTF lighting. It's an architectural grade LED. It is an LED, but it's LEDs done, in my opinion, the right way. So a lot of the issues with LEDs, one of which is the flicker.
Yeah.
When you try to dim, when you try to, so these are flicker free, and the lighting and the water are the two most infiltrated markets with that jump onto the buzzwords, the trendy things like that, and say we're flicker free when they're really not. It's comical. There are some people out there still selling incandescent bulbs saying that they're flicker free. Incandescent bulbs are flicker free. You're just there's nothing special about or different about your product.
Yeah.
You're just using.
It's like calling like sugar candy gluten free. Like there's nothing for there to be
Yeah.
gluten in. Like
Exactly.
it's like, okay.
Exactly.
It just is.
Yes, it just is. Yeah.
So it's an architectural grade bulb. There's a specific, you have to tie the dimmers to the dimming wave of that bulb. So there's specific dimmers you have to use with that bulb.
Oh.
But the bulb UV free, flicker free, and I'm missing a couple. Oh, it's sad when we switched over to LED that we had to come out with a new rating to literally the color rendering index, CRI rating. Every LED bulb has it, and it's literally a rating of how dull it makes our surrounding and how dull it makes our world. The lower the CRI rating, the more dull the colors are. The higher they are, the more vibrant they are and the more true they are to how God made those colors. Incandescent bulbs, which is a filament that's burning, essentially, when it's running an electrical current through it. Those are all God-made fire. All of those bulbs are 100 CRI. That rating didn't exist before we made this big switch over to LEDs. So this architectural grade bulb, because you can't, it's sad, they've been banned and you really can't reliably buy incandescent bulbs anymore. And the ones you can find, I've found they say they're rated for like 2,000 hours. They last a couple weeks and they burn out because they're made so poorly and so cheaply. So it is, there's not really a better way around it, but this bulb is incredible. They're having the highest on the market that I could find, the highest CRI rating. So we did another reel, you helped me with this, where we took paint chips. All we did was take the same Sherwin-Williams paint chip and held it under a standard LED and held it under our LED. And there was a noticeable, we'll send
big
it to you
time,
after this, a noticeable difference in color depth. And the coolest feature with these bulbs that just for day-to-day overall health, aligning with our circadian rhythm, is that they have this dim to warm feature. And again, going back to incandescence and halogen and all of those filament bulbs, when you dim those, they naturally go from like a 3,000, like a cool kind of daytime colored light, down to about an 1,800, a really rich amber sunset mimicking light. So God knew what He was doing when he made the incandescent bulbs.
Or gave us those materials to make. Yes.
But these lights that we use have a dim to warm feature, so they're going from a 3,000 to an 1,800, and you dim your lights at night, and it mimics the sunset.
Wow.
Rich, warm, rather than the bulbs that they become really trendy, where you kind of toggle the light switch and it switches over to red light or kind of that nighttime mode, where it's that warm, rich color.
Well, they made those like an extreme, and then your whole room's just kind of red, and it's not real pretty.
It's a little
so we still like aesthetics, but just with actually like how God intended the lighting to be.
Yeah.
That's interesting, Jack, how you mentioned how our world is almost dimming, right? Because the light is dimming, and we're not seeing these brilliant colors anymore, and it just feels like that is across our whole world. Like we're not seeing the light, we're not seeing the truth, and
No
Things are
metaphor
becoming more
intended.
gray, like gray areas.
Yeah.
Where is the light? Where's the truth? And I think that, you know, I whenever I walk into like a Home Depot, I hate going into big box stores. I really try to stay away from like
Yes.
Costco, Home Depot, all of those, because when I go in there, I have that feeling that it's like everything just feels so dreary here. You know, it's like a gray
Yeah.
feeling, because in my home we don't have those kind of lights, and I'm in my home a lot and I'm outside, and I see things so differently. So when I go in there, I'm like, I never put two and two together. I knew it was the lighting, but I didn't realize that it was muting the colors. So that's interesting. Let's go into remediation of homes. I know that's not your guys' specialty, but I would love to talk about, since a lot of people aren't going to be building their homes from the ground up, what are things that we can look for, because mold is such an issue. Let's start with the HVAC. You had brought up some good topics with that. A lot of people have HVAC. What are ways that we can, well, let's talk first about, there's a lot of mold that builds up in HVAC, right? And that's what we're breathing in. Why does the mold build up there, and how can we prevent that?
Yeah, on new construction, it's due to, I mean, the blanket issue, I think, is due to speed. People wanting to move too fast, not put the thought into it. There's blanket sizing. The rule of thumb always is 1,000 square feet is 1 ton of HVAC. So you have a lot of these contractors coming in, and they're building a 2,500 square foot house. So they say, okay, well, let's put 3,000 square feet of HVAC in there. Well, and we didn't consider anything else. We didn't consider the direction of the house, the number of windows, what insulation you're putting, how leaky the house is, none of those things that should have gone into the calculation for the HVAC, and should, if it were required, it would. A manual J calculation is the formula for, or is the system for calculating HVAC sizing. Because the problem is, if you oversize the HVAC, it's going to short cycle. So it's going to run 3 tons of cooling when it only needed 2. So it's going to run 30% more cooling through your ductwork for 2 minutes to drop it 1 degree. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's more efficient. Well, no, it's not, because it's running too short. So it's blasting this really, really cold air, and it's overcooling and creating a condensing surface. It's getting the pipes too cold, and it's creating a condensing surface on the inside of the ductwork, and creating that condensing surface. And that's when you get mold, is when you have an overcooling problem, or it's not keeping up, and you're running into humidity, and it's not properly removing the humidity like it, even just a standard HVAC system was designed to do. So what we do on our new construction homes is, I mean, the non-negotiables is that we have central dehumidification. So we're here in the hot, humid South, so humidity is a big deal, and we are air sealing very, very well. So we have it under control pretty from the base layer. But you open your doors, you open your patio doors, leave them open, you're going to fill your home with humidity very, very quickly in the middle of the summer. So central dehumidification is a non-negotiable for us. We're also, because we air sealed really, really tight, we don't want to compromise that system by just putting these bath fans in, which have just an open pipe that run to the outside. And when you're not running, it's got a little plastic damper, but it's not keeping humidity, keeping the elements, keeping dirty air, unfiltered air from infiltrating into your home. So what we install an ERV, an energy recovery ventilator, and you start looking at one way is specifically, especially for HVAC design, you look at commercial buildings where there is a lot of engineers, there's a lot of regulation, there's a lot of actual forethought put into these commercial spaces. Almost all of the new construction commercial buildings, they have ERVs in them. They have ventilation. And so why that's key is that now from a healthy home perspective, we're getting almost 3 air cycle turnovers a day, because what an ERV does in a balanced manner, it vents out anywhere. It's always running when it's in continuous mode. It's always going to be pulling out 50 CFM cubic feet per minute. So it's always going to be pulling out 50 CFM, and then always also pushing that same amount of air back in. But when it's pulling the fresh air in, it's filtering it, and there's an exchange. So from an efficiency standpoint in the winter, when you're pulling conditioned hot air out and pulling unconditioned, really, really cold air in, the air sources don't touch each other, but they actually transfer heat. So it pulls the air out of the air going out and puts it in the air coming in. And so we're getting, in one day, we're getting almost 3 new air volumes in the house. So you talk about, a lot of people will, when family gets sick, spray Lysol or something to try to clean the air, or put these air scrubbers that try to filter the air that you're putting in. Well, our homes are getting 3 new fresh air. People talk about, you made the really good point to a client recently that, I love the analogy, is that
fresh air.
Like we were little, our parents told us to
go outside and get fresh air. It's like, well, what if you can have fresh air in your house always?
Yeah. So we're getting, through this ERV, we're getting 3 new air turnovers plus or minus a day. And the last part of it is, or the second to last, we are actually, that manual J calculation, we're actually sizing our units and putting the work and the forethought into our homes. We're doing that manual J calculation for each home to make sure that you have that properly sized system in the home. And the last thing, this anybody can do on a new construction. It doesn't cost any extra money, is that the design of returns. So the returns you have in your house, you normally have 1 or 2 of those big returns that you have to change the filters twice a year on. But what we do, we actually tag off of those, and we have balanced airflow in each bedroom. So you spend hopefully 8 hours a day at night sleeping in your bed, breathing out CO2. And most rooms are about 10 by 10, 12 by 12. And you're going to breathe out 3 times that volume of CO2 into that room. And by morning, your air quality is so degraded that it actually impacts your sleep. So what we're doing is we're putting returns, small little returns, in each of those bedrooms. So if we're pushing in 80 CFM in a bedroom, we're pulling that air back out too. So you're always introducing new conditioned air, and then mixing in that fresh air with that, about 50 CFM to the whole system at a time. So that, on new construction, we feel really great. We've had great results. We've had owners tell us that I truly sleep better in my healthy home.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Well, there's so many aspects to that would, like we were talking about with the frequencies too, how you're set up to sleep better. Yeah. So what about people that are in an existing home and maybe their HVAC is not perfect? What are some things that they can do to help right now with what they have?
2 things I would say is you want to move air. You don't want it sitting. Just like we've heard you've talked about with water. It's what's still stagnant water is not good. Yeah. So air needs to move too. So the 2 things I would say is, one, because we're not blessed that we don't live in one of our fully healthy homes. We've implemented and retrofitted a lot of things into our home, but we live in an old 70s brick ranch home. Yeah. And one thing we do is that we keep our thermostat, the fan. So you have 2 settings. You have the temperature, and then you have the fan, or the heat, cool, and then you have the fan. Keep the fan on. So now your fan, it does, it's pennies on the dollar for the health benefits of this system of doing this, but keep your fan on. And now your fan's always running, so you're always moving your air throughout your house. And when in the summer, when it's running across the coils in your HVAC system, it's pulling moisture out. even if you don't have a dehumidifier, it is the air condition. When you're conditioning the air, you're running your AC. It is dehumidifying your air to an extent. The second easy thing is like what we just talked about, is just leave your doors open. Leave your doors open when you sleep at night.
Your bedroom doors, not your front door.
Oh yeah, not your front door.
Unless you live in a really safe neighborhood, then go for it. Yes.
Yeah. Leave your bedroom doors.
Yes.
So now your air you're getting new air in your bedroom. You're breathing that new air that's conditioned, and you're not filling your room with CO2. It's comical to me when I've asked, and when my past experience in construction, working for a kind of luxury custom home, I've asked builder. I've worked with different HVAC companies, and I even asked them, like, why don't we stick returns in the bedrooms? Don't you want to have turnover in? They're like, oh no, it vents through that crack in the bottom of the door.
Oh God.
I didn't want to be smart with them, but you mean that 1/4-inch crack under the door? You think that we're relying on that to get fresh new air in your bedroom? Come on.
Wow. These are things we don't think about. Thank you so much. That's a really valuable tip, even just to open your door at night and keep your HVAC, instead of on auto, put it on.
Yep.
Just so like water, it's flowing all the time. It's not stagnant and then flowing and then stagnant. It's continually flowing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that. Okay. So what are some other things that we can do? Because you guys just mentioned you live in a home that was built in the 70s. You're not in one of your new builds. But what are some things that you've done in your home to remediate it?
We actually had mold when we bought our house. And it was actually in what is now our daughter's bedroom. You could see it. It was visible. We knew it was there. It was because of a leak on the outside of the house that the gutter. Yeah. And it penetrated through the wall again, like talking about that breathability of the house.
Yep.
So through Jack's family's experience, we found that if you get, what's the type of alcohol?
Everclear.
A
high proof, like 98 proof, almost pure rubbing alcohol.
Yes. And this is if you know you have mold in your house and you want something to kill it. This definitely worked for us. This worked for Jack's family. A lot of other people I talked to, this is kind of just that, like, you can do it at home, like kill the mold.
Yep.
Small area, visible. Everclear, it's like 1 part Everclear and
I always have
3 parts water.
I think that's it.
It's like, and then you literally just saturate that area. Like take off the drywall, take off any of the things that can't be salvaged, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you spray that, absolutely saturate it, and it will kill the mold and you get it out.
Yeah.
It was really funny. I was very, very pregnant, like 8 months pregnant, going into a liquor store to buy a giant handle of Everclear.
Oh, wow.
So I definitely let him know it was for mold. And the guy at the liquor store actually knew what I was talking about. And he was like, well, this one's a little bit better, and handed me a lesser expensive one, but it was like a higher proof.
Yeah.
We don't really drink, so I don't know how that works. But
yeah.
That's something that's just real easy. That's if you know you have mold, and if it's in a contained area or things like that, that will kill it.
Yeah.
So
well, because the issue with a lot of people just go get bleach, and bleach on surface mold when it's not a porous surface, when the substrate's not porous on your tub, your cast iron tub with an enamel finish. Enamel's not porous, so yeah, bleach works to remove it pull it off the surface. But the problem is that those mold spores are growing into the organic material, the wood or the gypsum, the sheetrock. So that's why mold is not used. I mean, you talk to any remediator, they don't use mold. Or I'm sorry, they don't
Bleach.
use
I hope
bleach.
not.
Yeah, they don't use bleach. Because the calcium chloride, those molecules are too large to penetrate and get into the where the mold is actually growing. So it works great on surface mold, and sometimes it bleaches the surface of the wood and cleans off the surface of it, and it looks like you fixed the problem, but you didn't kill the mold and
the spores and everything like going through. Yeah,
exactly.
Everclear, it just kind of keeps going.
Yeah.
So
And
that's a good tip. That's a really good hot tip right there. So everybody, if that's true, maybe we can put it in the show notes and you can send it to us. But 1 part Everclear alcohol, 3 parts water, and
I believe that's it. Yeah.
spray that on the area of mold if it's a porous area as opposed to bleach.
Yes. Well, yeah,
Okay.
we'll double check that.
So we need to keep our fan on all the time, keep our bedroom door open at night when we're sleeping, not depend on that crack under the door, especially if you have carpeted house.
Yes.
That's going to be a little bit more suffocating.
Yeah.
So what about an air filter in your bedroom at nighttime? Would that be something that would help with that?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Big time. Yeah. We have air filters in our home. I mean, it's homeowners, when we move homeowners into our homes, they always ask like, well, like the homeowner we just moved in, she asked like, should I run my air filters? I was like, you can. I was like, we've never used a VOC or a carcinogen or anything in this home. So you don't really have much to scrub out of the air.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of when we move a lot of our clients in, it's just a perspective change and a lifestyle change, because a lot of them were already using air scrubbers and air purifiers and all these systems. But when you build the entire home without VOCs, carcinogens, any of these chemicals, there's nothing left really to have to filter out and scrub out.
Yeah, I feel like the air purification thing is such a saturated market, like water filters, all of that.
Yes.
So it's kind of hard to pinpoint, like, if you have pets, get this one. If you have, like if your house is really old or, just get this one.
Exactly.
So it's kind of having to research a little bit, like what you're trying to filter out, really. Like if it's, pet hair, what's your situation? That would kind of align with like the best air purification system for you. But we have, like I said, we have those all in our house, and it definitely helps.
Yeah.
What air filters, what brand do you guys use?
Air IQ is a really good one.
That's the one I have.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great one. What's the one my mom has?
She had Blue Air, I think. I haven't researched that one a lot
I haven't
myself.
either, but she
likes that one.
she's
Blue
done
Air,
a
I
lot of
believe.
research
Yeah.
on
Yeah. And they've come out with
Another
ones
thing
now.
that brings in a lot of toxins is our shoes. So a way to eliminate so much toxin exposure in your home is just taking your shoes off. I know when my daughters were born and they were crawling on the ground, I had a rule that you have to take your shoes off when you come in the house, and that rule is never gone away. It's still part of our home, but some people really will push up against you on it. Please, can I just have my shoes on? And it's really interesting. I always think, well, I understand some people want to leave their shoes on, and I, if it's such a big issue to them, I sometimes will allow it. But for the most part, we just, we have a sign on our door, all our shoes come off when we come in the house, and I believe that it makes such a big difference. But I mean, we clean our floors once a week, and there's still a bunch of dirt on the floor, so I don't know where that comes from, but
yeah,
just living.
You wash your hands after touching a tabletop. I mean, you're walking around in your shoes outside all day.
Yeah.
And you're walking on that same surface, and your baby's crawling on it. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It just makes sense. But in our culture in America, a lot of people leave their shoes on, but you go to other countries and different cultures, and most people really do take their shoes off. So I think that, these may seem like obvious topics, but we are conditioned in a certain way, right? So if you grew up in a home where your parents left their shoes on, chances are you're probably going to leave your shoes on and think nothing of it. Yep. But when we start to really get into it, it's like, whoa, a lot of the things that are weakening our immune system, they stack up. It's like a bucket. You start filling it up. You've got the mold exposure, you've got the toxins, and then now we've got all these boxes that we're bringing into our homes from UPS, Amazon.
Right.
Where have those been? We're finding that there's bugs in there, there's cockroaches, what has that been exposed to? And you're bringing this foreign object into your home.
Yeah, I didn't think about the boxes. Yeah, that's a.
Or you think about luggage off of an airport. People put it on their bed, unload their clothes, and then everything that was just in that airport.
Yeah.
It's
right on your bed.
Yeah.
Things to think about, and we don't want to fear monger, and I know that you guys are not doing that, and you've talked about that and before we even started, how it's like it is about, you want to live your life in balance in some way where our mindset, our mind being so powerful and really sending and receiving messages to our water body and our whole system. If we're stressed out all the time, that's going to really be denaturing our cells, water structure, and making us sick over time. So we don't want to be worried about, we want to be aware, we want to be conscious and making the best decisions that we can for ourselves. And then also trusting that we are, right? And then listening to podcasts like this, meeting people like you who can give us more tips and help us be better so we can just keep growing.
Yeah.
Right.
Being aware but not fearful.
Yeah.
It is like you said, it's like your mind can trick you into making your surrounding way worse for you than it is.
Yeah.
It's like just being aware that there are choices and there are ways that you can do things better, the ways that God intended us to do them. And we've just kind of lost sight of that, whether it be like greed or just a shortcut. But it's you can still live a very blessed life and knowing that your surroundings maybe aren't what you hope them to be, you know?
Definitely. I 100% agree with you, Aislinn. That's a great point, and I'm resonant in that. I really feel that people like you are such a blessing because we need more people paying attention and saying, "Hey, this is a problem, the way that homes are built, and let's come up with a solution." And I love that you're going to ancient principles, from the scriptures, from our ancestors way before we were having these mold issues in our home. I heard this story recently about somebody who had stage 4 cancer. They were given very limited amount of time to live. And the guy says, I'm going to go live in a tent in my backyard just so I can ground to the earth, get more sunlight, get fresh air.
Yeah.
And he's now cancer free. So who knows? We don't have the answer to all these things, but it does kind of show you that the environment we're living in is impacting our health in a significant way, and it's important for us to look at it. Are there any questions that I didn't ask or anything that you'd like to bring up that you think would be beneficial for the audience to hear?
I mean, the only thing piggybacking off, just making the point is like talking about building science and all these things is, we don't bring this up to fearmonger, to make people scared to live in their own home. We've been very careful to walk the line with any marketing, social media, anything we put out there is that to walk the line of not, okay, if we're going to build, let's build this way. Why not build this way? There's a better
do the
way
right
to
thing.
build.
Yeah.
But not fear mongering and being all doom and gloom about, okay, well, you need to get out of your house right now. It's not that bad. It's like there's just a better way to build. So why not build that way?
Right. And it's like we kind of view life as like humans have kind of just as a whole, humans have kind of messed up things, like greed, the root of all evil. You look around and it's like everything, you find out something new is toxic every day, or something has heavy metals or parasites or whatever. And it's like God knew that we were going to do this to ourselves. So he hid all of these like Easter eggs for those video game players out there, these Easter eggs in life where it's like you can find those things, you can learn about them, and you can apply them to you and be so much better off. And it doesn't have to be this very complicated thing. It can be just a small change every day. I think that's what I love about what we do is like a simple change to really uplift your health is your home. Like if you can just add something to your home that you're living in every single day, you spend 70 to 80% of your life in your house or in your home. Yeah. And if you can add something to that to, make it a healthier surrounding for you and your loved ones, that's improving your health every day. And it's easy.
I totally agree with you on that. What are I had some thoughts that just came up right now. You're talking about that paint, the KEIM mineral paint. Now, most people have the plastic paint in their home. If they wanted to use the KEIM, can they just paint over what they have? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so from a vapor permeability, you're not going to gain the vapor permeability. But you are gonna, there are primers that you can use, the KEIM mineral silicate primer. It has been studied and it does lock in I'm sorry, not the KEIM. We actually also use
AFM
AFM
Safecoat.
Safecoat.
Yeah.
So
It's
great product.
yeah.
We only use KEIM for our exterior paint and our interior walls. AFM Safecoat we actually used. It's designed. One of the founders actually worked for um, the laboratory that designed a lot of Sherwin-Williams paints back when oil-based paints were a big thing and were way more harmful than paints are today. And he actually got cancer himself from his environment that he was working in. And so and he was able to have surgery, remove it, heal himself, and move forward. He was blessed to be able to take that experience, and he founded AFM Safecoat. And all of these paints are designed for the chemically sensitive, which we kind of find ironic is, well,
We're all chemically
chemically
sensitive.
sensitive.
Like our bodies do not agree with those chemicals ever.
Yeah, they shouldn't. This product shouldn't be pigeonholed into this like really small market of people with MCS. So we believe in it and we use it for all of our trim. They have a eco lacquer that we use on our cabinets, our stains, the polyurethanes. We make stain samples at our kitchen table because they don't have.
It smells like dying Easter eggs, and it's
Yeah.
not more intense than just that like vinegary kind of smell.
Yeah, they don't
But-
have
yeah.
all these overwhelming harmful VOCs. So I say all that to what I would recommend in that situation. If you have an off-gassing and out-gassing problem, they actually have done studies on their primers and their paints. That,
AFM Safecoat, not KEIM. Yeah.
yeah. AFM Safecoat has done studies on their primers and their paints that they block 100% of substrate outgassing. So you can actually use those paints and paint over your current cabinets if you have brand new cabinets that have a serious off-gassing issue.
Or MDF, like you mentioned earlier.
MDF, yeah.
Yes.
If you're doing a project that you just have to use MDF for some reason.
I don't know why, but just for fun.
Yeah. You can use this paint and it blocks 100% of, as long as you seal it up, it blocks all of the outgassing. So that would be my recommendation for
AFM Safecoat for already painted surfaces.
Yeah.
KEIM for new surfaces or unpainted.
Okay, that's a really good tip. That's good to know.
Mhm.
So if you already have toxic paint in your home, you can cover over it with the AFM Safecoat.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, that's a really good tip. Any other tips?
Obviously, like water filtration.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that
Yeah, water's a big one.
you
I know.
talk about that a lot.
You're the expert in, but we use on all of our standard, because everywhere we build, it's mostly city water.
Mhm.
Almost every house we use is city water. So yes, there's different structures and different filtration processes based on location. So check with your municipality, do some chemistry testing, and test your water. This isn't a blanket thing for the whole country, but for our demographic and our water source, we do two things. One, we filter the whole house. So we have whole house water filtration, and it's a 3-stage filter that filters all the way down to getting fluoride out of the water. So we're not showering, we're not bathing, we're not washing our hands with this water that has chlorine and fluoride and all of those chemicals that they're dumping in the water at the water treatment plants that make it all the way to your home. For drinking water, we're using the Pristine Hydro water revival system. And this aligns a lot with, I think, some of the stuff I've listened to you speak on, Tracy, is that it's a 10-stage reverse osmosis system. And there's a lot of reverse osmosis systems out there that strip everything out of the water, all the junk, and you're left with H2O. But the problem is that God made us, the water God intended us to drink, had a lot of minerals, had structure to it, had all of these magnesium, calcium, copper, and all of these naturally occurring minerals. And this system actually does remineralize. So it not only it strips everything out, and then it remineralizes it with all of the good God-made things all of the good God-made elements that he intended in our water. And the last stage it passes through is a quartz crystal stage, which actually restructures it as close to structured water, which I've seen a lot of your stuff on, which is the most
easily received.
Yeah. Accessible form of water for our bodies.
Our bodies to break down and use.
Our structured water, was H3O, is structured water. So anyway, that's our standard practice. And the last stage is it actually exits the water filter. People talk about microplastics.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to plumb our entire houses with copper. And this is one little tip for anyone adding a reverse osmosis system to their system, is that last stage between the last filter and the faucet, run that in copper. So now you've stripped all of the microplastics out of the water. I wish every homeowner could afford to plumb their houses in copper, and we could do every house in copper,
mm-hmm.
but we can't. So the microplastics is an issue with the water that you drink. We don't want to be ingesting microplastics. So we make sure to run that reverse osmosis system, which does strip all the microplastics out of the water, and then it is only touching copper as it runs from that filter to your faucet.
That's a really good tip right there.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yeah, little copper in that last spot.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's funny how there's a lot of fear mongering with copper pipes. Like, you will hear people say people have copper toxicity, and then they'll ask, do you have copper pipes in your home? You might need to get your whole home repiped to the PVC piping, and it's just
yeah
mind-boggling, right? How
yeah. My parents
conditioned
in copper, and my parents, they're 64, their hair, their skin, everything. Like, you would not know that they were 64, and they will give a lot of credit to their copper pipes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, if anybody wants to learn more about you guys or get a hold of you, where's the best way to find more information?
Probably our social medias. We keep up with that the most. This summer, we're excited. We're going to be revamping our website.
Yeah.
So we'll be relaunching our website. It's there now, but we'll be adding a whole lot more media, things that we've captured just as we've grown as a company. But up to date, most recent kind of day-to-day information is probably all of our social medias.
Mm-hmm. We have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube Shorts. We don't know a lot about that one.
Yeah.
But it's just Kingdom Builders, LMSW, which stands for Large Man, Small Wife. So
cute.
Yeah. That. So just to give us a little, I think there's some other charities called Kingdom Builders. So that gives us a little bit of a differentiation, and it's, easy to remember.
I love that. Thank you guys for being on the show today and making time. I know you guys are super busy, but these tips that you offered and this information is going to help a lot of people, and it's very valuable, and I'm very grateful, and I want to thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, you're very joyful, and we love being around people like that. So thank you for having us on.
Oh, thanks, Evelyn. All right. Till next time.
Yes. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Tracy.